I'm going to present the zip tie ear posting method. And before we start, I wanted to talk about a couple little things. This method should be used after the bases of the ears are standing correctly and they've been shaped by using either the backer rod method or tampons. This method is for supporting floppy tips. It's not for the primary posting method. The supplies you're gonna need, I will walk through them, but I thought I would list them out here. And let's get started. Okay, we're gonna do the zip tie method on a Doberman puppy, and here are the supplies we're gonna use. We have cotton squares. These are just the simple cotton squares you can buy at the grocery store or the drugstore. This is actually anti-fungal foot powder that I've put into a ketchup dispenser because it's got a nice small tip on it. You can use either Torbot glue, which has a brush, or this is a human grade spray glue. Available, both of those are available on Amazon. Kendall Covidien tape. This is a breathable medical grade tape that will that is very, very sticky. It's a lot stickier than Zonas tape, which is also a medical grade tape, also breathable. We need our 2 zip ties. These are the heaviest zip ties that you can find at the at Home Depot or Lowe's, and scissors. Okay, we're gonna measure. So we want the tip to be just slightly higher than the tip of the ear, and the base of it is gonna go to about right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna trim the post. Okay, so we're gonna cut the zip tie. I've got my little scissors here, and I'm gonna cut the other one the same length because his ears are the same length. Now I take the Dremel and smooth off. You can see how sharp these corners are. So I'm gonna smooth these off a little bit. That's it for smoothing. Next step is to make the posts themselves. So this is the Kendall Covidien tape. This is the really sticky tape. So notice I'm putting this sticky side down on my surface, and I want it just slightly longer than the length of the zip tie. So I'm gonna cut it right here. I'm going to take the second piece of tape and I'm going to go right over the top of it, also sticky side down. So I'm going to make that as even as I can. Again, I'm just going to cut it just slightly longer than the zip tie. Okay, can you see the outline of the zip tie here? And I just take the scissors and just kind of go around the edges of it to make sure it's stuck very, very well. Okay, so everything is all stuck together well. It's a single piece. And my next step is with my cotton squares. So for this, notice there's 5 little pieces here. I'm gonna cut the 5th one off just because it makes it a little too thick to go inside the ear. This is the piece that's gonna go inside the ear. So I cut that piece off. Now I'm gonna measure. I want about half of the length of the cotton square. Notice that? About half of it. So I'm gonna cut the tape right about at that halfway mark on both sides. This is very sticky tape, so it's very challenging to work with sometimes. Okay, so I'm just gonna wrap this like that. And I'm gonna take my cotton square that I cut, I'm gonna wrap it around and then up. And this is 1.5 inch tape. 1 inch is actually easier to work with, but this is what I bought the last time I ordered tape, so.
Gotta make do with what you got.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm gonna take about half of that. So I've folded this up. I'm gonna take this little strip that I just made. I'm gonna wrap it around the cotton. Around the top of the cotton. I made this a little longer than it needed to be, but that's okay. Doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so there's one. I'm gonna do the same thing for the other one. Second piece of tape, same direction, sticky side down. And my zip tie got crooked. My scissors, make sure this is sealed really well in between the two pieces of tape. Cut one of these pieces off. Measure about half the length of the cotton square. Make a notch. Sticky tape. Notch. Wrap the tape around. Part. I'm going to cut a little of this off because it was longer than I needed. Okay, so we're going to wrap all the way around, fold in half, and then use our little strip of tape here to hold it onto the zip tie. Okay, there's our second post made. Okay, so there's our 2 zip ties. Next step we're gonna do is we're gonna take our, and this is a tape adherent glue. So this is specifically made to work with the tape to stick to the skin. So on the sticky side of the zip tie, gonna spray this good, and we're gonna let that sit for probably 15 to 30 seconds. It's basically just an extra layer of adhesive to make it even stickier. Okay, so we've let them sit for a few minutes, and now this is the anti-fungal powder. I'm just gonna put a tiny little bit inside the ear. And I don't know if you wanna, can you zoom in on that and see kind of about how much is in there?
Just a dab.
Okay. So now that I've put that in there, I'm gonna take one of my zip ties. I'm gonna put the base, the little cotton piece, down inside. And I'm gonna stretch the ear up. And I make sure that the tip is alongside where the zip tie itself is. Okay. So now I'm just gonna press really well. And you can see I've got some excess tape around here. That's okay, we're gonna deal with that in a minute. That's all it takes. Now we're gonna do the other side. Same approach.
Good boy.
First we're gonna put some anti-fungal. This is really great if you live in a humid climate.
Good boy.
Okay, and take the cotton piece down inside the ear. Notice I'm stretching the ear up, I'm pulling on it. Press the ear. Make sure that the tip is alongside where the zip tie itself is. Now I'm going to press everything into the ear really well to make sure everything's stuck nice and well with our glue and our tape. And his head keeps going lower and lower.
Yeah, he wants to go to sleep.
You're not helping. You're not helping. Okay. So now you can see the two posts with just a little bit left over around the top. Now this can be trimmed or it can be left the way it is. I'm gonna trim it just because I like it a little shorter. I like it right along the edge. So I'm gonna put my finger over the tip of the ear and then I'm gonna cut. That ensures that I'm not accidentally cutting the puppy's ear. Now I'm gonna trim some of this excess tape, kind of the same approach. You don't have to take a whole lot off, just that little bit of excess. Do the same thing on the other side. Put my thumb over his ear to make sure I'm not cutting his ear itself. Cut that excess tape. I know, Bubba. I'm tired of this, huh? And I'm gonna cut some of this excess tape off. Not helping. All right. Okay, now that I've got that part done, the last step, this is my Zonas tape, the one that's not quite as sticky. That way it doesn't take off as much hair off the ears. This is the,
Oh, sorry.
this is the part that will come off first. But you wanna make sure you keep tape around the top of his ears. So we're just gonna take the tape. Not gonna make it super tight or anything. I'm just gonna wrap it around this piece at the top, and that's just gonna give a little bit of extra support. To hold everything in place.
Good boy. Good boy.
Do the same thing on the other side, and I'm cutting about 6 inches of tape. About a 6-inch piece of tape. 5-6 inches. So same concept. Just gonna wrap it around. Notice I'm not doing anything tight. Just loosely wrapping. And then once I get it in place, I just kind of press it together, sort of squeeze it.
Oh, now we're ready to lay down.
Okay. And there is your zip tie method. And Bane says, thank you for watching the video.
Good.